After you got tired of solving limits the normal way, you heard about this thing called the L'Hopital's rule. Let's see how it works. I want to solve the limit of f of x over gx, which is, by the way, the most common limit, as x approaches a number such as a. This limit is hard to solve. Why? Well, because we have to know a bunch of identities, a bunch of simplifications, a bunch of this and that to be able to solve this limit. But as it turns out, this is just equal to the limit as x approaches a of f prime of x over g prime of x. Let's see a bunch of examples. Well, we know that we have to begin by substituting 0 in place of x. So sine of 0 over 0, and sine of 0 is 0 over 0, and this here is undetermined. So we can go ahead and use L'Hopital's rule. So the limit of sine of x over x as x approaches 0 is going to be equal to the derivative of sine of x, which is cosine of x, over the derivative of x, which is 1. And we have to take the limit of this as x goes to 0. So now we substitute in place of x 0. So we have cosine of 0 over 1, and cosine of 0 is 1 over 1 is equal to 1. Let's see another example. So we'll begin by substituting in place of x 0. So we have 2 minus 2 over 2 squared minus 3 times 2 plus 2. The numerator is 0. The denominator is 4 minus 6 plus 2. So it's also going to be 0. So this is again undetermined. So we can use L'Hopital's rule. The limit is going to be equal to the limit as x approaches 0 to the derivative of the numerator is going to be the derivative of x, which is 1, minus the derivative of 2, which is 0, over the derivative of x squared, going to be 2x, minus the derivative of 3x is 3, plus the derivative of 2 is 0. And we just have to substitute in place of x 2. So this becomes 1 over 2 times 2 minus 3. So 1 over 4 minus 3. So 1 over 1, which is equal to 1. We begin again substituting in x equals to 0. So 2 times sine of 0 minus sine of 2 times 0 over 0 minus the sine of 0. This equals to 2 times the sine of 0 is 0. So 2 times 0 is going to be 0. Sine of 2 times 0 is going to be 0. So sine of 0 is 0. And 0 minus 0. So this is again undetermined. We can go ahead and differentiate the numerator and divide it by the derivative of the denominator. So the derivative of 2 times sine of x is going to be 2 times cosine of x, minus the derivative of sine of 2x is going to be the derivative of the inside, which is 2 times the derivative of the outside because of the chain rule, cosine of 2x, over the derivative of the denominator. The derivative of x is going to be equal to 1, minus the derivative of sine of x is cosine of x. And let's substitute 0 in place of x. So 2 times cosine of 0 minus 2 times cosine of 2 times 0. That over 1 minus cosine of 0. This is going to be equal to 2 times cosine of 0 is 1, and cosine of 2 times 0 is again 1. So 2 minus 2 over 1 minus 1. So this again is undetermined. So again, we'll take the L'Hopital's rule and differentiate the numerator and the denominator of this function. Notice that we use L'Hopital's rule 2 times here. So the derivative of 2 times cosine of x is negative 2 times sine of x, because the derivative of cosine is negative sine, minus the derivative of 2 times cosine of 2x is going to be 2 times sine of 2x, and this negative becomes a positive because of the derivative of cosine, and the derivative of 1 is going to be 0, and the derivative of cosine of x is going to be negative sine of x. Let's substitute in place of x 0. So negative 2 times sine of 0 plus 4. I multiplied these two numbers together times sine of 0 over the sine of 0. So this thing becomes 0 times this thing is also 0 over 0. So this again is undetermined. We'll go ahead and use L'Hopital's rule a third time. The limit as x approaches 0 of the derivative of the numerator is going to be negative 2 times cosine of x plus 4, multiply them together again, times the derivative of sine of 2x, which is going to be 2 times cosine of x, cosine of 2x. That over the derivative of sine of x is going to be cosine of x. Again, let's substitute in place of x 0. This here is 1. This is going to be 1. And this here is going to be 1. So 2 times 1 is going to be 2. And 2 times 4 is 8. 8 plus negative 2 going to be 6. So in the numerator we have negative 6. And the denominator is 1. So the result will be negative 6.